As you know, we're a few weeks away from the scariest, spookiest time of the year. The midterm elections. I'm gonna go as millions of illegal votes. Anyway, the midterms are in 19 days. And this year, every single vote counts. But there are a few states that are looking to change that.
As the midterm elections rapidly approach, there's been a rash of voter identification conflicts in states across the country.
Laws across the U.S. are being passed to make it harder, not easier, to vote. Since the 2016 election, 9 states with Republican state legislatures have passed laws restricting the vote.
We've seen time and time again when Republicans can't win outright as far as votes, then they resort to what many would call cheating.
Ah, come on, Republicans? Instead of trying to appeal to diverse voters, you just rather try and block their votes? Huh? It's like being a contestant on Jeopardy, and instead of trying to win by being the smartest person, you just spend all your time tasing your competition. And the worst part is that Alex Trebek probably wouldn't help you. You'd be like, ah! Alex would be like, I'm sorry, we were looking for what is Now, voter suppression. Voter suppression is an issue all over the United States. And right now, one of the most prominent examples is in Georgia. You see, the governor's race is neck and neck. You've got Stacey Abrams, who could become the first black female governor ever, and you've got Republican, right, and you've got Republican Brian Kemp, who would become the first white governor named Brian Kemp in Georgia, I think. And because the race is so close, something like this could make all the difference.
The Associated Press reports that ahead of this historic election, more than 53,000 Georgia residents have had their registrations put on hold thanks to a policy that requires their applications to precisely match information from other state agencies.
Now, basically, if your voter registration doesn't match up exactly with your DMV or Social Security information, your registration is put on hold, and you may not be able to vote. We're not talking about major details like your address. We're talking about simple misspellings, a rogue hyphen, a nickname on one form and your full name on another.
Okay, now, I think this is just bullshit, right? You're telling me that some people won't get to vote just because their voter name doesn't exactly match their name on file? Like, it's funny how this happens with voting, but it never stops the IRS, yeah? The IRS is never like, oh, we had Trevor Noah. I guess you don't have to pay taxes this year. No, they'll be like, hey, Trevor Noah, you misspelled your name, dumbass, and you owe us 20 grand. And because Georgia is currently run by Republicans, I'll give you one guess as to which type of people had their voter registrations put on hold.
Georgia's population is approximately 32% black, but the list of voter registrations on hold is nearly 70% black.
Well, well, well. My old friend racism. I've been expecting you. Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting how every time Republicans create a voting restriction, it just so happens to disproportionately affect people of the brown? And I'm not gonna lie, it's very slick. Yeah, because on the surface, it always seems legitimate. Yeah, 100 years ago, the argument was nothing personal. We can't let people vote if they don't know how to read. And black people were like, but learning to read was illegal. They're like, oh, ironic. Look at that. And now today, it's like, how can we trust that it's really you if the names aren't exactly the same? And black people are like, yeah, but white people never spell my name right. Well, that's too bad, Derek. It's like, yo, it's Derek. The truth is, like, let's be honest. Let's be honest. You don't have to say who you're targeting to target someone. You just have to know which rules are likely to hit them the most. Right? Like if I was trying to block white people at the voting booth, I wouldn't need to say, no white people are allowed. I'd just be like, sorry, no pumpkin spice lattes in the voting booth. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry, folks. You got to go home. I'm so sorry, everybody. So sorry, everybody. Go home. Go home. No, Derek, you're good. Come on in, man. Come on in. And what makes this Georgia situation extra shady, extra shady, is who's in charge of allowing people to vote.
Kemp never stepped down as the current Secretary of State, which means he is the person overseeing the upcoming election.
And as the current Secretary of State, he's responsible for elections and voter registration.
Well, well, well. It appears there's something wrong with my chair. Come on, guys, really? The guy in charge of the election is also running the election. Like, that is some African level shit right there. We're used to that all the time on the continent. Someone will be like, okay, now that everyone has voted, I'm going to take the ballots into the other room, and when I come back, I'll tell you how I won. I mean, who won? I'll tell you who won. And now look, the truth is, if you ask Kemp, he'll say that the registration blocking isn't happening because these people are black, and it's not happening because he's in charge. He's going to say it's happening because most people who filled out their forms wrong just happen to be black. Because you see, white people fill out forms like this, and black people fill out forms like this. And look, we can go back and forth on this all day, right? But I think I know how to solve this. This is what I think we should do. Every black person in America needs to register as a Republican. Right? No, hear me out. Just say you're going to vote red. You don't have to do it. Just be like, I'm a Republican. When you go and vote, you can do whatever you want. When you come out, they ask you who you voted for, just be like, yo, snitches get stitches. That's all you do. That's all you do. And I guarantee you, if the GOP thinks that black people are voting for them, they will make sure that your vote counts. They're going to be waving Trayvons into the voting booth like a third base coach. And if you don't believe me, just look at Kanye West. Yeah. Before him, Republicans were like, black people, just do your job, shut up and dribble. But all he had to do was put on a MAGA hat, and they let him into the White House to yell at the president about time travel in the Oval Office. So if it worked for Kanye West, it'll work for you.